cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
All right, welcome into a very, very special edition of View from C-Deck. As of today, we are going to say fuck Michigan, and the Haas and the Direwolf are here to share their experiences and hatred. But we'll start off with a little jingle that I love to play this time of year from my days back in the college days. So is Casey, I believe.
Oh yeah, I know the song you're gonna play.
2, 3, 4.
Gather round the keg, me hearties, and I'll weave ye a tale of a piece of human scum. A barking mad, terrible lad, clad in maize and blue pad, speaking of that gonad named Chad. Chad Henney is a joke, a motherfucking joke. His Wolverines are gonna fucking croak.
Oh, perfect.
I've never heard that.
Oh, yes. All 4 years was Chad Henney, while I was in Ohio State, Chad Henney was the opposing quarterback. And all 4 years they lost, and he and Mike Hart and Jake Long all went 0-4. And God damn it, that's why I still love Jim Tressel so much, because they were an annoying trio, to be sure. So
Yes.
I'll start with, I'm a kid of the 90s, and I grew up watching Michigan trash our national championship hopes year after year with John Cooper as coach. 1993 and Tim Batuka running for like 313 yards against an undefeated Ohio State team. 95, and we just choke it away. We get blitzed in that game, like 28-0, I think, something terrible, as an undefeated team. And then 96, Sean Springs slips and against Ty Streets, and he takes a slant to the house, and we lose 14-9. Again, undefeated, and would have won the national championship because we still went to the Rose Bowl that year and beat Arizona State. And Florida and Florida State swapped wins and losses, so that was the national championship we lost. And it was just not a fun time. So my hatred of them grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And my worry of this game grows and grows and grows. I never want to ever see them win because of all those championships they cost us. This is where Casey and I differ so much, because he somehow roots for them to go undefeated because we're going to beat them at the end of the year. I'm like, did you watch the 90s? No, we're not. We're not going to. It's not a given at all. I don't care what's happened the last 20 years. But my favorite story will be the one game. So I'm undefeated against Michigan going to games because I didn't start going until I was in college. And obviously we went 4-0 against them there. The last game I think I went to in person was like 2012. But I went on the road once to Ann Arbor in 2007. I know that we all have at Ohio State, there's a little bit of a stigma about our fans as arrogant assholes. And I think that actually kind of sticks a lot. And I'll say, in my freshman year, going to the game, I did watch one of our fans walk up to like a 5 or 6-year-old and flick him off and yell, "Fuck you." And while it's funny, I'm also like, Jesus, that's why we have this thing. And Michigan fans have always been like, oh, no, we're hoity-toity. We're better than these Ohio State people. So we go up. We start early. It's 5 of us, including a current senator in waiting, heading up to the game. We cross into Michigan, realize we're low on gas, turn back around, and go back to the state of Ohio because Woody says don't buy your gas in Michigan. So we did that. We did it right. We go back up to the game. Now we have a friend there that's in law school, and we go to a law school party first. So on our way down, though, we have a friend of mine, we'll call him Will, who is not the most attractive-looking man and is already tanked on some Jack Daniels. And the first area we pass is this frat area, and there's a guy and a girl playing catch with the football in the front yard, just tossing the ball. And he runs up and just smashes it into the ground in between and just yells, "PBU, PBU." And that's how our day starts. So we're going down. We're getting yelled at by everybody. People are throwing stuff at us from random bars. We go by a random house party, and the entire party showers us with beer. I mean, everybody threw their beer can they had at us. Now, were we saying stuff? Probably, about how we're going to win. But also, I remember very, very vividly a young man going up. This party had like this weird rail at the base of the yard that it was being held at, and there's probably 50 people in it. So he stops at that rail, and he's challenging me personally to a fight. I'm like, there's 50 of you and there's 5 of us, you effing pussy. How about you come out here and fight me and don't stand behind that stupid little line? It's not stopping you. And then I get dragged away. We move on though. Nice and stoked, smelling like beer. It's a good time. We go to the law school party. Now, these are all grad students. They don't really give a shit. I mean, they want Michigan to win, but they don't really give a shit. They don't care. So we're at the edge of the party, and everybody's mild enough. While we're at the edge of the party, though, right when we're about to decide to leave, all of a sudden, like 4 guys have picked up leaves and hit a few of us trying to jam their leaves into our red Solo cups that we have. Oh, I'm getting the quieted down. I'm sorry, I'm too animated here. Jams into the red Solo cup. Hits a couple of our guys. They're like in the head, like it's an assault. It's an actual assault. But it is what it is. They just kind of run on, and we're just like, what the f is wrong with these people? And we're like, all right, it's time to go down. We're talking smack. The guy we go to that goes to law school there, he decides we're too much and just runs away from us. And like I remember him slapping like a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign as he jumped away. He's like 6'8", runs away, and we're like, okay, we're talking smack. Will again, who, like I said, not the most attractive man on earth. Has a reasonably attractive Michigan fan. Not that there's many of them, but she comes up to us to talk a little shit, and he says the line of the day. He just goes, "Why would I care what you have to say? You're fucking ugly." And I've never seen a person shut down as quickly as this girl who had no idea that this ugly man was about to tell her that she was ugly. And from that point on, it was a lot of us yelling that at everybody. That they were ugly, every girl. We have people throwing full unopened beer cans at us. There's like a main road that goes down to that giant toilet bowl of a stadium. So you get to the stadium, and it's really not impressive at all because, like I said, it's in the ground. It's a toilet bowl, so it doesn't look big at all until you get in there. It's not imposing whatsoever. People are trying to trip us. We actually had to get a police escort to get through the ticket area because people were trying to trip us. More people are getting yelled at that they're ugly from us on our end, and the senator in waiting, as we're getting through, he's like, "You're ugly, male model," and then Will, the only really funny thing he ever said besides that was, "But why male models?" Good Zoolander reference. So we get into the stadium. So these tickets we bought were purchased right after we lost to Illinois that year, so we're undefeated. This is 2007. Undefeated until we lose to Illinois the week before Michigan in a game that we thought savaged our national championship hopes. So none of us really wanted to go after we bought these tickets, and they were pretty expensive. It turns out they were in the student section. So we get down there, we're in Michigan's student section, and of course, we're getting hate thrown all over us. A lot of it's academic smack talk because any real football, we're just like, we beat your ass the last 5 years. What the hell are you talking about? And we're actually like, we're not that uneducated people. We're people who would easily have gotten into Michigan had any of us like wanted to, kill ourselves and just go do that. So the game itself, though, not much to write home about. It ends up is a 14-3 win, if everybody remembers correctly. Beanie Wells ran for like 228, including one like 50-yard touchdown. He had another one like called back, but it was really a punting matchup. Jim Tressel was probably rock hard the entire game with all the punts that were happening. But my favorite moment is Chad Henne. This is his senior year when they all had come back expecting to be on there. Remember, they lost to Appalachian State at the beginning. Chad Henne gets injured, and Ryan Mallett was there at the time, who eventually we would play in the Sugar Bowl at Arkansas, but I digress. Henne gets hurt. And like I said, there was no offense in this game whatsoever. It was terrible weather, so it wasn't really like anybody's fault. It was just really bad weather. But Henne's not doing anything. Henne comes back out of the locker room, and the student section around them starts chanting, "Henne, Henne, Henne." And I just look at my buddies. I'm like, Henne's never beat us or done anything. Yeah, Henne. And we start chanting it. I swear, the entire section just shut up. Just shut up, because we're sitting there going, Henne, Henne. I'm like, this motherfucker's not beating us. Get out of here. So we win the game 14-3, and we decide, the players are celebrating because we're going to the Rose Bowl. We had won the Big Ten championship with that. So we think at the time. Ends up, no, we don't, because everybody loses in front of us and we end up in the national championship game. But at the time, we're thinking Rose Bowl. Chris, Beanie Wells is running around with a rose in his mouth. And we go down and try to get closer to, we're not that far off the field. We're probably like 14 rows, 15 rows. So we're going to get closer to the field. About the 5th row, this girl stops us and is clearly intoxicated, Michigan girl, obviously, and starts going, "You ruined my senior year. You ruined it," and starts shoving all of us. Now, we're like, I'm not even one of the bigger dudes that's there. Like, we're all pretty big guys. But we're not going to, like, hit this girl. But, she keeps shoving us, and there's a police officer, because we're close to the field at this point, police officer there. I'm like, sir, can you do something? This police officer comes up and freaking spears her and tackles her, and they roll down like to the bottom of the section, and it was wonderful. It was a great day. My hatred got cemented. They're just as bad as us. They're big as assholes as we are, just like every fan base. We're all just a bunch of assholes to each other. And we won the game. A girl got speared by a police officer. It was perfect. That is my favorite memory of the game, of being there in person. Besides, 1 versus 2 the year before was awesome, but that's the story I have to, like, really get the hate juice. I just think about it. I'm like, oh, I fucking love how much I hate them.
I have never been there. I've actually never even been to an away stadium. I'm afraid I'd get my ass kicked because I probably wouldn't be able to stop talking shit. But yeah, it started early for me for sure. I remember. I'm not old enough to remember the Cooper days, so basically every Michigan game I can remember was about maybe 99 was the earliest, but right around 2000 is really when I really started getting into it. And I just remember we would routinely go over to my aunt and uncle's house and watch the game, and I was the only kid that could actually, like, I was like calling out penalties and stuff. And I remember that sits in my mind. How did he know that was a holding? And but the best game I've ever been to for sure. I was at 16 and 06, but that was my lasting memory is the 06 game. I was a freshman that year. Obviously, game of the century. 1 versus 2. We're thinking we're gonna go smack Florida. Obviously, that didn't happen. But just storming the field, took the last grass that's ever been at the shoe, and I took that home. It's still growing in my parents' garden to this day. So that's the biggest memory that sits in my mind from the rivalry. I don't have a big story like yours because I've never been there.
You wouldn't get out, Casey. I know you.
Yeah, and ever since I've been a big fan, we've just completely dominated them. So there's been no reason for a Michigan fan talking shit, especially since I've never been there.
Osman, you were at the 1 versus 2 game too, right?
Yeah, I was. So mine's kind of heartfelt. My dad, we had just moved from California to Ohio. I was just starting the 3rd grade, so I was like 8 years old. And what? It's okay. I was just moving from California to Ohio, just started the 3rd grade, and I hadn't seen my dad in about a year because he had to stay back in California for his job. And he came back the day before that game and showed up on the front doorstep. And of course, I was pretty emotional. So you want to go to the game tomorrow? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. And it was like that. So he took me to my first ever game the next day. I couldn't sleep that whole night. And
a little young to be dropping an F-bomb back then.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I don't remember much. I was only 8. I do remember they had their team bus there, and there was a big yellow and blue Michigan bus, and my dad had somebody take a photo of us from the back that looked like we were peeing on the bus. We like pulled down our pants, and so my dad framed that picture in our basement. It's pretty funny, and so my hatred is just ingrained. I don't have a lot of experience of them beating us, but I do recognize that they have more wins than us in the old time rivalry. Like, I do respect what they've done, so like I know, like, I'm scared of them because like I don't want them to ever be what they were. I want them to be 0-12 every year. And it's just kind of engraved, I think, in every Ohio State fan to kind of hate them. And I think that was exemplified by me, my first game being the game arguably the greatest game of all time. And I've been to I think 4 or 5 Ohio State Michigan games. I'll be there. I'll be there this Saturday, and I'm just you take it for granted sometimes going to these games, but I don't. I get goosebumps to this day watching the band come out of the tunnel, and I think this weekend's going to be a little bit more special.
I will say you touched on we have opposite philosophies here. I don't want anybody to ever think I don't completely hate Michigan. When I was watching that game on Saturday, I was firmly rooting against them. I try not to watch any second of any play of anything with them because I can't stand them. No. But my philosophy for wanting them to win is purely based on us, meaning it could potentially help us the better they look and appear nationally. Now, moving forward, when it's a 12-team playoff, that goes all out the fucking window because it doesn't mean shit anymore. We're going to be in the playoff no matter what, unless we lose 3 games, most likely. So,
in case we shouldn't be there.
Yeah. So that's I don't want anybody to think I like Michigan in any way, shape, or form. I firmly believe them being good in 16 got us into the playoff. Now, that didn't end very well for us when we got there, but if they were sitting there at 7-5, I don't know if we make it.
Go ahead.
I'll say my hatred was kind of engraved just with our tradition and stuff. My hatred didn't really take a form of its own until Harbaugh, because I don't really feel like they had a persona to their whole thing.
Had clappy no heads for that guy. Come on, Brady.
Yeah, Rich Rod and Brady Hoke were kind of like, I always felt like we were better than them. Harbaugh I still think that we were better than him. I think and last year was the first time he kind of got the edge on us. But I'm like, I haven't hated him until him. He just is something else, and I just can't stand him. And I get it. They could probably feel the same way about Ryan Day a little bit because I can kind of sense that cockiness, even me being an Ohio State fan. But yeah, it's just there.
He's just so weird, so annoying. I can't.
Asshole, Andy's weird. He's a weird asshole.
About him.
He's fake.
Oh my god. Yeah.
He does. I mean, he may have Asperger's. Who knows? That's what I think about him. But so being ingrained. So the very first college football game I ever can actually remember watching. I probably watched some before them, but the first one I remember was an Ohio State Michigan game. It was the greatest win of our generation. It was the tie, but I was watching it in my grandma's garage while she was doing a garage sale, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm from Ohio. I'm gonna root for Ohio," and that's quite simply how I became an Ohio State fan. Like, it was that day. I'm like, I live in Ohio. I'm gonna root for Ohio in this game, and then they tied. I was like, that was weird. Oh well. and went on with my life, and then then we had played bigger games after that, and I was just like, oh, so frustrating there in the 90s with the losses that cost us national championships. That my hatred is just through the roof, and I'm always nervous about them coming back. I never want them to be there again. I'm with Jason. 0-12 every year. Beat their ass until they quit the damn sport. Make them quit. That would be the ultimate victory, is to say, you know what, we quit. We don't want to take this anymore. Please, sir, I don't want another. And that's what the goal should be. And I'm hoping Ryan Day, I mean, obviously they ducked us because they're fucking pussies. All right, they're cowards. They ducked us in 2020. There's no way you convince me that they didn't. They didn't have COVID issues. They had 2-5 issues and losing to Indiana issues is what they had. And now they're coming into the shoe for the first time since 2018. And Ryan Day is 1-1 against them. He should be 2-1, but he's not. He's 1-1. And this is going to be a game that defines him as a coach right now. This is it. This is just a huge game. And I know the energy is going to be, I think, nervous. I think they usually are for these type of games. And they're like, we've talked about it before when we talked about the Notre Dame game to start the season, how the energy for those early game, like I always say, Texas is the best environment we've ever had that I've been to, because it's not a nervous energy, it's an excited energy. But 1 versus 2, I was in the stadium the moment they let you in. And I didn't touch a drop of alcohol that day because I was so nervous. And in that game of the century. And like from the moment people started filing in, you could just tell people were just like, "Oh, what's going to happen today? We don't know."
It was like that in 16 too. It was very. What year was that tie, Matt?
92, I believe. I gotta look this up though. It would have been the year before that. But that's always weird. But it's also just the Bianca Batuka game is really the first one I remember like actual visually watching like the game and seeing him just trounce us. Because then that must have been 95 as the Bianca Batuka game. Because then I got him as a rookie on Madden 96 for the Carolina Panthers. I was like, well, this guy killed Ohio State, so I got to beat him.
See, yeah, it's crazy for me and Jason. The only wins against that Michigan has over us, I don't even remember which one it is. 1 year for Tressel, it must have been like
2011, Fickle.
What was the win that they had?
Against us, 2003.
2003. Okay.
Chris Perry went nuts on us. We couldn't stop him.
And then Fickle, interim coach, worst season arguably in Ohio State history. I feel like that's
count.
Fuck it. Huh?
So that game shouldn't even count. If they strike the 2010 game, which they do from the record because it was wiped out, then that game shouldn't count either because that wasn't even our real team.
Yeah. So.
And we almost won that game, by the way. Braxton Miller missed about 4 deep balls to Devier Posey.
Yeah, that was So those are the only 2 wins before last year in our fandom history, really.
Well, if you go to 299, like you said, then they beat us 99 and 2000.
True, but
beat them
that's
like 4 and 98, I believe. Throwing up there in the Cooper years.
Those are the
game was. But, yeah.
Those are fuzzy. I don't remember any details at all. Really, the main thing is Tressel with that speech in the basketball game. That's really fandom started.
Tressel will always probably be my favorite coach, even if I don't know if he's the best coach, just because he turned it around. He turned it around, the rivalry, which set the path for everything we've accomplished since then. Because if we can't win this game, we can't win titles. Big Ten or otherwise. Once again, Big Ten titles on the line. I mean, whoever plays, I think Iowa's going to end up making it. Whoever plays Iowa's going to win that game. But, yeah. Oh, God, I'm just getting pissed off thinking about, like, watching them celebrate after the Illinois game pissed me off to no end this weekend.
Yeah. Yes.
Get this guy over here. No, I can't talk because I'm not a real human. Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, I don't know why, but it fucking pissed me off to no end, too. Like, they were so happy. Like, I bet our guys were probably pissed off at the end of that Maryland game. At least I hope they were.
I think they were. All right, well, that'll do it. We'll spew some more venom in our Michigan preview, though. Should actually be a really good game, though. But 8.5-point line early. Just throwing that out there. Don't give me your prediction yet. All right, but watch us, follow us, tell us in the comments exactly why you hate Michigan so much, how much you hate them. Spill. And we will see you guys next time.
Hey guys! Whoa, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.